origin of topic sentence?
Origin of baseball, American baseball.
Okay, yeah, this one. Now you can make that smaller, you can turn that white thing a little bit smaller.
It was invented, so I think they bought it too much.
I know, you guys can see now how much trouble I have up there trying to get that organized. Okay, so, yes, so go ahead.
Basically, our topic was the lawsuit on gun manufacturers.
Okay.
And our main idea was that gun violence became an issue, and cities started to file lawsuits on them. And for our topic then, we put 5 because it shows that kind of like the other cities that started filing lawsuits on the gun manufacturers. And here's a list. Gun violence became an issue. Cities started to sue them. Chicago filed about 453 million suit for damages.
Okay.
And
Okay, good. Okay, now what I find interesting is that it looks like they started trying to list all those cities and then they crossed it out. Cities and that's a cities and counties. Because in this one, that's your initial impulse, right? Oh, here's a bunch of cities, I gotta make this list. But then you realize, well, I could just, like you did here, I could just highlight those. Because then you start to see, oh, wait a minute, that's not really the list I need to make. So that's really a good change, was to cross all those cities out. Because you could do that, but there's something else going on there, okay? So it became an issue, they started to sue gun manufacturers, and then this other stuff. There could be some other things there. Now, the only thing is, let's look at the topic sentence. Okay, so their main idea is gun violence became an issue and the manufacturers got sued by, and I might cross out the word other there, manufacturers got sued by cities, right?
Right.
Okay, but let's look at sentence number 5 and see if that says the same thing. Also, remember that your topic sentence should ideally be one that a reader who hasn't read your whole paragraph should be able to just look at your topic sentence and understand everything that's going on, okay? So number 5 says, that opened the floodgates as more cities and counties filed similar suits. And then it lists all those cities. Do we know from sentence number 5 what kind of lawsuits they're filing? No. So that doesn't really work. We have to, I mean, it does have the idea that a bunch of cities and counties file these suits, but we have to get the idea here that the lawsuits were against gun manufacturers. What did other people put for the topic sentence for that one?
Number 2.
Okay, number 1. Brian suggests number 1. Due to the number of crimes involving gun violence, New Orleans became the first of many cities to file a lawsuit against gun manufacturers. Does that work? Yeah. That has the idea. It throws us off because it just has New Orleans, but because it says the first of many cities, that makes it okay. Does that make sense? That's the only problem, is your topic sentence, because that topic sentence doesn't tell us enough. Yeah. Let me ask a question. So that's good. That's really good. What are these lawsuits? Are these death lawsuits for wrongful death? What kind of lawsuits are these? This is kind of interesting. Are they filing for injury or wrongful death because of guns? No, the cities, what the cities are saying is they're filing public nuisance suits. So that's kind of interesting. They're not filing because people are getting killed. They're filing because it costs the cities a lot of money to have to deal with this. Okay, so it's kind of an interesting concept. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay, good, thank you. Okay, so Valerie and Brian.
Yeah.
Woo. Okay.
So much glue.
Okay, that's good.
This one was about how there are some planets that don't have moons around them, but Mars is a planet that has moons.
Yeah.
So it starts off by a reversal transition.
Good,
So,
yeah.
and it has how Mars, its moon,
You're good.
where it came from, and has describing the moons. And the list has where it came from and then describing.
Okay,
Yeah, it's kind of like the Greek version of it when it talks about phonos, I believe it's phobos
Yes.
and demios.
yes.
Phobos being the Greek word for phobia,
Right,
and demios, I believe, is for like demonic or something close to that,
right.
similar there. Just the irregular shape, and it's heavily cratered. Some of the lists, there wasn't a big list on this one, and just had a lot of dark surfaces on Mars.
Okay.
It was a short
good.
list, a short and to the
Yeah.
point.
Yeah, this was very short, so we think, oh, good, this is short, it's gonna be easy. The trick with this is that it's actually, this is one of these ones that leans into not really having a full topic sentence.
But it's a,
Because what does that list tell us about the moons? If you look at that list, and actually there are a couple of other things on that list. Shh. They're both little more than large rocks. They have dark surfaces, they're difficult to observe, but they can be seen with a telescope. So that, there are quite a few things on that list. So are these moons similar or different?
well, Mercury and Venus have no moon, but Mars has two small
Well, but I
ones
mean,
right there.
between themselves, are they like each other or
Yeah.
are they different
No,
from each
yeah.
other? Yes, that's really what this is telling us. They both also have dark surfaces. Both moons are irregularly shaped. Both moons do this.
Mhm.
So what it's really telling us is that Mars has two small moons that are very similar to each other.
Yeah.
But there is no sentence that actually says that, so you have to fall down
Little nuances
on the
in there.
first one. But what you did is correct, because what you're doing here is what we're talking about with our list up there. Because the first sentence is not on that list, it's the only one left to be the topic sentence.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the other way to approach it, okay? Good, thank you. Okay. Who's next? Okay. Group 5. Oh, okay.
We're supposed to skip it. Wait, you give me these when we're done?
Yeah, or you can just throw them away. Okay.
That's Michael's paper, I know it.
Ours is number 5. It's seeing cannibalism, and not really sure what to say, other than it basically covers, how it's basically taboo in today's society and it's a monstrous crime. And that according to ancient Greek historians, that ancient cultures basically were open about it, and that they considered it to be a sound reason, I guess, to eat people for various reasons. One being that they wanted to keep the wisdom within the clan, that fallen warriors were were basically viewed as possessing, possessing charms and portions that might have been important to their enemies, and priests that were considered to be, next to, or that would have a close relationship with, their God at the time. And the faithful would want to possess, their, features, or, whatever, or spirituality, whatever it's called. So, yeah, so there was cannibalism for you right there.
Okay, so let's look at what they've got up there and see if it all works together. This is what I've been asking people to do on the reading and writing and also on these. So what does taboo mean? What does the word taboo mean?
It's basically,
A plan?
well, it's not a plan, but it's more like a forbidden act.
Yes, forbidden. So your topic is the fact that cannibalism is forbidden, okay? But what you talk about is that it was practiced. So does the topic match the main idea? Is your main idea telling us about cannibalism being forbidden?
Well, that's where I was kind of conflicted on. Where,
Right, right. Good.
Because
If you're conflicted, you gotta do something.
yeah, because
Okay.
it said in one part, in the beginning, in the opening sentence, it said that that it's a monstrous crime and it's
Yes.
the subject of strict social taboos. But then that reversal transition right there,
Right, right.
went into saying that, hey, look, back there in the old times.
Okay, so listen to what you're saying. There's a reversal transition. So this paragraph isn't about the taboos. What's it about?
The acceptance of it.
The acceptance of it, so that's not the topic. See what I'm saying?
Probably put
Yeah,
acceptance
the
of it.
topic is the acceptance of cannibalism, okay? And this is a good example of one of the lists I'm seeing with many people across all the classes, where we've just got one long list, and I'm gonna ask you, what is that a list of? See what I'm saying? What is that a list of? Saying it's a list of cannibalism doesn't make any sense, okay? So this is where so it's generally considered a monstrous crime. It's the subject of strict social taboos, okay? So your first list item is an annotation of sentence 1, okay? But then you've got to start another list, okay? So if we look at the sentence with the reversal transition, according to the ancient Greek historian Herodotus, ancient cultures unapologetically and openly resorted to cannibalism for what were considered sound reasons. So what's your question about that sentence?
Well, I mean, I didn't have a question on as far as that, because that just told me that.
Okay,
these
but
people
what if
justify-
what if I'm gonna force you to ask a question about that second sentence? What question would you ask? Because this
The
is what,
social acceptance?
this is what you're gonna have to do in tonight's homework. That's one of the reasons I'm picking on this one. What does the word sound mean in that sentence? Firm, good reasons, okay? So think about that sentence again. The ancient Greek historian Herodotus said that ancient cultures resorted to or practiced cannibalism for good reasons. What's your question? Nobody has a question about good reasons to practice cannibalism?
What are the good reasons?
Yeah, what on earth could be a good reason to eat somebody else? That's your question, okay?
Who knows, maybe they taste.
Well, this is what the rest of the paragraph is gonna tell you.
Some salt, pepper.
You see what I'm
garlic
saying?
salt.
So,
Sorry, want you.
under consider sound reasons, I want you to put another line, okay? What your thing is the considered sound reasons. So they resorted to, and again, another thing, I want people to paraphrase rather than just copy in the list, okay? What does that say? Herodotus said, ancient cultures ate people for sound reasons,
So should I bring
for
up,
good reasons.
should I bring up the?
Okay, so put a line under your consider sound reasons, and all that second one should go together. Okay, now, what's your list?
Was the sound reasons is the way.
Yes, now you have how many reasons?
1, 2, 3, 4. I could try it.
Well, are there 4?
I think there's probably
Longer or
5.
longer?
Okay, what's the first one? What's the first reason that ancient cultures ate people?
The
wisdom in the family.
Okay, they ate their elderly, when an old person died, right?
Yeah.
They believed that if they consumed the body, they would receive that person's wisdom.
Yes.
Makes a logical, in some cultures, it might make a logical sense, okay? So what's the second reason?
Let's see here, the fallen
To be their,
warriors.
Okay,
so the
yeah.
enemies wouldn't take the body.
Right, the soldiers were eaten, the warriors. And again, makes a certain kind of sense. They couldn't take the bodies and make charms out of them, okay? What's the next reason?
Was the priest there?
Yeah, the priests. And what happened if you ate the priest's body?
You'd be, I guess, closer to the
Yes,
gods
closer
that
to
you
the
worship.
God or the spirit, yeah, exactly. So is there another one?
And,
The elderly people, the soldiers, and the priests.
well, it says by partaking in the priest's body.
Okay,
Well, actually,
good.
that's the same.
So that goes with the priests.
Yeah.
So that has to be that is not an item on your list. Does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am.
So here's what we're gonna start doing, and one of the reasons I'm calling attention to this, that it has the elderly, the fallen warriors, and the priests. Then the sub-detail, there's another level of details,
The
okay?
soldiers.
Yeah, the sub-information is why you would eat the priest's body. Does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am.
So you really only have 3 sound reasons there, and the other is detailed information, okay? So that's what I'm looking for with the lists. I want to see that people are understanding exactly what they're putting in that list.
So if the topic sentence would be number 3?
We got stuff.
The what? Well, we're getting to that, okay?
'Cause as
So
we-
the topic is not the taboo of cannibalism, but the acceptance of cannibalism, okay? So, can somebody tell me if the main idea that this group has up there, is that a complete sentence? No. Okay? What they have to do is finish that sentence. The past practice of cannibalism in the ancient times was what?
Was for sound reasons.
Yeah, was for sound reasons. Yeah, there's no, again, no verb. You have to have a verb. The past practice was for, it will put was in. Times was, between times and for, put a was. There you go. There you go. Okay. Now, does number 3 work as a topic sentence? Yeah. Good. Okay. So that's good, because that's the kind of problems I'm seeing on a lot of people's papers. So we're really going to be, okay, good, thank you. We're really going to be looking at those lists to see what's going on. Okay. Let's go, let's see, how many do we have to do? Only 2 more. Let's go, no, 3 more. Let's go for a break right now. Let's go for a break until 2:04. and then we'll come back and look at the next three. This is a good time to take a break. Okay,